Ambassador Haynewell stared at the message floating in front of her. She read it 3 times to make sure she wasn't seeing things wrong. After 200 years of silence, Earth had finally responded to the Senate's invitation. "Play the message again," she said to her computer. A hologram appeared, showing a human woman in a simple black uniform. No medals, no fancy decorations, just a small blue planet pin on her collar. "Greetings, Galactic Senate. Earth accepts your invitation to join the Millennial Gathering. Our representative will arrive in 5 days. We have only 2 requirements. First, the Senate chamber must be reinforced to military-grade specifications. Second, all recording devices must be turned off during our presentation. We look forward to taking our place among the stars." End message. Haynewell pressed a button on her desk. "Get me Chief Engineer Jeho. Now." Minutes later, Jeho walked into her office. His work clothes were covered in the glowing dust used to repair the Senate's quantum structures. "Ambassador, you look worried. Read this." Haynewell showed him Earth's message. Jeho's eyes widened. "Military-grade reinforcement. For a Senate meeting." He scratched his head, leaving a streak of glowing dust in his black hair. "The chamber is already one of the strongest structures in the galaxy. What are they planning to do in there? Can you do it?" Jeho pulled out his datapad and started making calculations. "We'll need to add quantum steel supports, upgrade the energy shields, and install new safety systems." He looked up. "It will take 3 days of non-stop work, and it will be expensive. Money is not a problem. Get it done." After Jeho left, Haynewell walked to her window. From her office high in the Senate Tower, she could see the city spreading out below. Ships of all sizes moved through the golden evening sky, carrying representatives from thousands of worlds. Her computer beeped. Another message from Earth. "Ambassador Haynewell." The same human woman appeared. "We understand our requirements may seem unusual. To help explain, we've attached some technical specifications. Please ensure Engineer Jeho follows them exactly." Haynewell opened the attached file. Her mouth fell open as she read. The reinforcements Earth wanted weren't just strong. They were strong enough to survive a small nuclear blast. She quickly called Do-1. "Have you seen these specifications?" she asked when he answered. "Yes," Do-1's voice was quiet. "And I've been doing some research. Remember what I said about species that fought Earth disappearing? I found something interesting. Every time it happened, there were reports of strange energy readings. The same kind of energy these reinforcements are designed to contain." Haynewell felt a chill run down her spine. "What are we inviting into the Senate?" "I don't know," Do-1 said. "But I think we're about to find out why Earth's seat stayed empty for so long." Over the next 3 days, Jeho and his team worked around the clock. They installed new supports, upgraded shields, and added safety systems. The Senate chamber, already impressive, became one of the most secure rooms in known space. On the evening of the 3rd day, Haynewell stood in the chamber with Jeho, inspecting the work. "It's done," Jeho said. "Whatever they're planning to show us, this room can handle it." He paused. "I hope." Haynewell walked to Earth's seat. The small green light was still blinking, counting down to the arrival of Earth's representative. She noticed something new. The metal of the chair had changed. The reinforcements had made it stronger, and now it seemed to hum with hidden energy. "Send a message to Earth," she told her computer. "Tell them we're ready." The response came back immediately. "Excellent. Our representative, Dr. Kim Ta-young, will arrive tomorrow. Please clear all traffic lanes to the Senate. We wouldn't want any accidents." As Haynewell walked back to her office that night, she couldn't shake the feeling that the Senate had just passed a point of no return. In one day, they would finally meet Earth's representative. In one day, they would learn why Earth had kept its distance. In one day, everything would change. The docking bay was silent except for the soft hum of the force fields. Coordinator Park Soo-jin stood with a welcome team of 20 representatives, all waiting for Earth's ship to arrive. They had cleared all other ships from the area, as requested. Any sign of them? He Newell asked, standing next to Sujin. Nothing yet. Sujin checked her screens. No ships on any. Wait. She stopped talking and stared at her display. That's impossible. What is it? A ship just appeared. No warning. No entry signal. It just showed up. Through the huge windows of the docking bay, they saw it. The Earth ship was small and plain, just a simple gray cylinder about 30 meters long. No weapons were visible. No special markings. It looked more like a cargo ship than a diplomatic vessel. That's it, someone whispered. That's Earth's great ship. The ship landed softly, barely making a sound. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side, and a single person walked out. Dr. Kim Tae-young was not what they expected. He was of average height for a human, wearing a simple black uniform like the woman from the messages. The only decoration was the same blue planet pin. He carried no weapons, no bags, not even a data pad. "Welcome to the Galactic Senate," Sujin said, stepping forward. "I am Coordinator Park Sujin. We have prepared." "Thank you," Dr. Kim said with a small smile. "But we can skip the formal welcome. I would like to see the chamber now." Sujin blinked in surprise. This wasn't how things were done. There were protocols, ceremonies, security checks. But before she could speak, He Newell stepped forward. "Of course, Dr. Kim. Please follow me." As they walked through the Senate building, Sujin noticed something strange. Dr. Kim didn't look around and wonder like most first-time visitors. He didn't ask questions about the amazing architecture or the advanced technology. He walked like someone who had been here many times before. "The chamber has been reinforced to your specifications," He Newell said as they approached the great doors. "Yes, I know," Dr. Kim replied. "We watched the work being done." Sujin felt a chill. How had they watched? The Senate's security was supposed to be perfect. Inside the chamber, Dr. Kim walked straight to Earth's seat. He ran his hand over the metal, nodding slightly. "Good work. The reinforcements are adequate." "Adequate?" Jae-ho spoke up from where he had been waiting. "Those are the strongest reinforcements possible with current technology." Dr. Kim turned to look at him. "Current technology, yes. But tell me, Engineer Jae-ho, haven't you ever wondered why Earth never shared its most advanced developments?" The chamber was quiet. Dr. Kim sat down in Earth's seat, the first human to ever do so. The chair seemed to respond to his presence, humming softly. "We have much to discuss tomorrow," Dr. Kim said. "Earth has watched the galaxy for 200 years. We have seen your wars, your politics, your attempts at peace. We have seen species rise and fall. And we have decided it is time to take a more active role." "What do you mean?" He Newell asked. Dr. Kim smiled again, but this time the smile didn't reach his eyes. "You reinforced this chamber because we asked. You cleared the docking bay because we asked. You didn't question why. That tells us something important about the Senate." "And what's that?" Sujin found herself asking. "That you already know what Earth is capable of. Deep down, you all know. You just don't want to admit it." He stood up. "Tomorrow, there will be no more need for secrets. Tomorrow, you learn why Earth's seat remained empty for so long." As they left the chamber, Sujin noticed something odd about Dr. Kim's shadow. For just a moment, it seemed much larger than it should have been, with a shape that wasn't quite human. But when she looked again, it was normal. She told herself it was just her imagination. She almost believed it. That night, no one in the Senate slept well. Tomorrow was coming. And with it, the truth about Earth. Some truths, they were beginning to realize, might be better left unknown. Archive manager Lee Min-ho hadn't slept in 2 days. His office deep in the Senate's basement was filled with floating screens showing historical data. Each screen told a different story about Earth, and none of them made sense. "Look at this again," he said to Do-1, who had come to check on his research. The Krath Empire, 50 years ago. They had 10,000 warships, energy weapons that could destroy planets, soldiers that could fight in any environment. They attacked Earth with everything they had. And they vanished, Do-1 said. Everyone knows that story. But look at these energy readings. Min-Ho pulled up a new screen. Just before the craft disappeared, their ships recorded a strange type of energy. The same energy our reinforced chamber is designed to contain. Do-1 leaned closer to the screen. Could it be a coincidence? No. Min-Ho started opening more files. The Velox Confederation, 80 years ago. They tried to steal Earth's technology. Their whole civilization disappeared in one day. Same energy readings. He pulled up another file. The Drax Horde, 30 years ago. They didn't even attack Earth. They just threatened to. 3 days later, gone. Same energy signature. How many cases are there? Do-1 asked quietly. 15 major ones, all with the same pattern. Someone threatens Earth. Strange energy appears. Then, Min-Ho waved his hand. Nothing. No traces. No survivors. Just empty worlds and abandoned ships. A soft chime interrupted them. Dr. Kim was requesting a meeting with the Senate's Preliminary Council. Do-1 had to go. Be careful, Min-Ho called after him. Whatever Earth is hiding, it's bigger than we thought. In the meeting room, 12 council members sat around a curved table. Dr. Kim stood at the front, still wearing his simple black uniform. "Let's talk about conflict resolution," Dr. Kim said. "How does the Senate handle wars between species?" "We have protocols," Haynul explained. "Negotiations, trade agreements, peacekeeping forces when needed. And how long do these conflicts usually last?" "It depends. Some take months. Others can last years." Dr. Kim nodded. "Years. While millions die. While worlds burn. While civilizations fall." His voice was still calm, but something in it made everyone sit very still. "Earth has a different approach." He touched his blue planet pin. A hologram appeared above the table, showing a star system none of them recognized. 3 months ago, 2 species in this system were about to start a war. Both had planet-killing weapons. Both were ready to use them. He paused. "We stopped them." "How?" someone asked. "We showed them what real power looks like, what real consequences are." The hologram changed, showing 2 massive fleets of ships facing each other. They had an hour to make peace. They chose wisely. The council members looked at each other nervously. Su-Jin spoke up. "Are you saying Earth has been policing the galaxy?" "Policing?" Dr. Kim smiled that strange smile again. "No, we are not police. We are more like gardeners. Sometimes you must prune a garden to keep it healthy. Sometimes you must remove things that threaten the whole." "The Krath Empire," Do-1 said. "Did you prune them?" "They made their choice." Dr. Kim's voice was flat. "They chose extinction over peace. Many have made similar choices. Many more will face that choice in the future." The room was silent. Through the windows, they could see the Senate building's upper towers reaching toward the stars. Somewhere up there, Earth's seat waited in the reinforced chamber. "Tomorrow," Dr. Kim said, "you will understand why we kept our distance, why we watched from the shadows, and why we've chosen this moment to step into the light." He walked to the door, then turned back. "Oh, and archive manager Lee Min-Ho, you can stop searching the historical records. After tomorrow, we will provide a full account of everything we've done, every species we've stopped, every war we've ended, every civilization we've pruned." After he left, the council members sat in stunned silence. How had he known about Min-Ho's research? What else did Earth know? In his basement office, Min-Ho was still searching through files when his screen suddenly went dark. When they came back on, every file about Earth had vanished. Every record, every report, every scrap of data, gone. Tomorrow was coming, and with it, the truth about humanity's role in the galaxy. A truth that would change everything. The main Senate chamber was full. 3,000 representatives from across the galaxy sat in their seats, all eyes fixed on the black chair where Dr. Kim sat calmly. The reinforced walls hummed with energy. Every recording device was turned off as Earth had requested. For 200 years, Dr. Kim began, his voice carrying easily through the huge space. You have wondered why Earth's seat remained empty. Today, you learn why. He stood up. Earth will join the Senate on 2 conditions. The chamber was completely silent. Even the usual whispers and movements had stopped. First condition, Dr. Kim said. Earth maintains complete military independence. No Senate fleet can enter Earth's space. No Senate army can land on Earth's worlds. Our forces answer to Earth alone. Senator Yoon Hee-jin stood up from her seat. She was known for being brave or foolish, depending on who you asked. Why should we grant Earth such power? What makes you so special? Dr. Kim's smile was cold. I was hoping someone would ask that. He touched his blue planet pin. Let me show you. The air in the center of the chamber shimmered. A hologram appeared, but this was unlike any hologram they had seen before. It looked solid, real enough to touch. This is one of our smaller ships, Dr. Kim said. The image showed a sleek vessel about the size of a passenger ship. It can do this. The ship in the hologram seemed to fold in on itself, disappearing into nothing. It reappeared behind an enemy fleet, then vanished again. We call it dimension shifting. Very useful for getting past defenses. The hologram changed. Now it showed a weapon, small enough to hold in one hand. This device can turn a star dark in seconds. We've never had to use it. The threat is usually enough. More images appeared. Soldiers in armor that could bend light around them. Missiles that could pass through solid matter. Ships that could travel faster than anyone thought possible. That's impossible, someone shouted. Those technologies break the laws of physics. Your laws of physics, Dr. Kim corrected. Earth has understood the true laws for a very long time. We just chose not to share them. The holograms vanished. Dr. Kim waited for the murmurs of shock to die down before continuing. The second condition is simpler. Earth will have the right to intervene in any conflict we consider unnecessarily prolonged. No questions asked. No permission needed. Hanul stood up next. You're asking for the right to control the entire galaxy. No, Dr. Kim said. We're telling you how we've already been controlling it. Those 15 civilizations that vanished after threatening Earth. That was us, being gentle, being careful, trying not to frighten you too much. He walked to the center of the chamber. But now it's time for honesty. Earth is tired of working in the shadows, tired of watching species kill each other over and over. So we're offering you a choice. Accept Earth as a member of the Senate with these conditions. Or what? Jin demanded. Or nothing. Earth will continue doing what it has always done. Keeping the peace, removing threats, standing guard over the galaxy. We don't need your permission. We never did. We're offering you a chance to be part of the process. The chamber erupted in voices, some angry, some frightened, some trying to argue. Dr. Kim waited patiently. Why now? Do-One asked, his voice cutting through the noise. Why reveal all this now? Because something is coming, Dr. Kim said. Something that will threaten every species in this room. You'll need Earth's help to survive it. And we'd rather work with partners than with frightened children. A hologram appeared one last time. It showed a dark shape moving between the stars, something so big it made planets look like dots. You have 1 hour to decide, Dr. Kim said. Choose carefully. Earth's patience is not endless. The chamber fell silent again. 3,000 representatives looked at each other, at the dark shape in the hologram, at the human who had just revealed how powerless they all were. The next hour would change the galaxy forever. The only question was, how? Director Choi Sang-min wished he had never come to work today. As head of the Senate's Science Division, he was supposed to understand technology. But what Dr. Kim was showing them now made no sense at all. The chamber's reinforced walls hummed louder as Dr. Kim continued his demonstration. "You wanted to know what Earth can do," he said. "Let me show you something small first." He pulled a tiny cube from his pocket. It floated above his hand, then split into 1,000 smaller cubes. Each one glowed with a blue light. "These are our basic soldiers," Dr. Kim said. "We call them guardians." The cubes changed shape, becoming human-like figures about 20 centimeters tall. They moved in perfect formation, their metal bodies gleaming. Each one can think for itself. Each one can fight an army. Each one can rebuild itself if damaged. Dr. Kim paused. "We have millions of them." Sang-min stood up. "That's impossible. The energy needed to power just one of those would be more than your civilization can produce in a year." Dr. Kim finished for him. "Yes, that's why we needed the chamber reinforced. The energy these devices use would have melted the old walls." The tiny soldiers vanished. In their place appeared a new hologram, showing Earth's solar system. But it looked different from the images Sang-min had seen before. "Your telescopes show you what we want you to see," Dr. Kim explained. "This is what Earth's system really looks like." The hologram zoomed in. Around Earth's moon were thousands of stations, invisible to normal sensors. Mars wasn't the red planet they knew. It was covered in vast cities hidden under energy shields. And between the planets, massive ships moved in careful patterns. "That's not possible," someone whispered. "We would have seen." "No," Dr. Kim said. "You saw what we wanted you to see, just like the Krath Empire saw what we wanted them to see, right before they disappeared." He touched his pin again. The hologram changed to show a recording. A massive Krath battle fleet hung in space, 10,000 ships strong. Then something strange happened. The space around them seemed to bend. When it straightened again, the fleet was gone. "We didn't destroy them," Dr. Kim said. "We moved them." Every species that threatened Earth was moved to a place where they couldn't hurt anyone. A place between spaces, you might say. The chamber was so quiet Sang-min could hear his own heart beating. He looked at his data pad, trying to calculate the power needed for what they had just seen. The numbers were so large they made no sense. "The reinforced chamber," he said suddenly, understanding hitting him like a cold wave. "It's not to protect us from your demonstration. It's to protect us from the leftover energy of your smallest devices." "Very good," Dr. Kim nodded. "The cube I showed you. Its power could burn through the old chamber walls like paper. The fleet movements you saw, that would have vaporized this entire building. Earth's real weapons." He smiled. "Well, let's just say there's a reason we keep them far from populated areas." Hanul spoke up from her seat. "If you're so powerful, why join the Senate at all? Why not just rule the galaxy openly?" "Because that's not our way," Dr. Kim said. "Earth doesn't want to rule. We want to protect, to guide, to stop children from burning down the house while playing with matches." The hologram changed one final time. It showed the same dark shape from before, the one that made planets look tiny. But now they could see it clearly. Sang-min felt his legs go weak. The thing was alive, and it was headed toward populated space. "That," Dr. Kim said, "is why we're here. That is why we're offering to work with you instead of just watching from the shadows. Because when that thing arrives, you'll need every weapon Earth has. Every soldier, every ship, everything." He looked around the chamber. "Your hour to decide is half gone. I suggest you choose quickly. Our enemy won't wait, and neither will we." In the silence that followed, Sang-min looked at his calculations again. If the smallest demonstration needed these reinforced walls, what could Earth's full military do? Perhaps, he thought, some questions were better left unanswered. Senior diplomat Kang Jae-hyun was good at solving puzzles. While others in the Senate chamber were still shocked by Earth's demonstrations, she was putting pieces together. She stood up, holding her datapad. "You've been helping us all along, haven't you?" she said to Dr. Kim. "Not just stopping wars, saving us from disasters too." Dr. Kim turned to face her. "Explain." "The great nova of Sector 12, Jia said. 50 years ago, a star was about to explode, threatening 3 inhabited worlds. Then, mysteriously, the star stabilized. That was you, wasn't it?" "Yes." Dr. Kim nodded. "We used one of our star-calming devices, saved 6 billion lives that day." Jia swiped to another file. "The plague of the Outer Rim. A disease that should have killed billions, but it suddenly disappeared. Our medical ships worked for 3 months to cure that one." Dr. Kim said. "The infected never even knew we were there." Around the chamber, representatives began to whisper. Many remembered these events, disasters that should have been catastrophic but were somehow avoided. "The meteor swarm of the core worlds," Jia continued. "The rising of the deep ones on Aquarius 9. The timed storm in the Vega system. All of them should have been disasters. All of them were stopped by unknown forces." She looked up at Dr. Kim. "How many times have you saved us?" 4,327 major interventions, Dr. Kim said, "plus countless smaller ones. We've been busy." The chamber erupted in voices. Some were angry that Earth had interfered without permission. Others were grateful for the secret help. Many just seemed confused. "But why keep it secret?" Hey Newell asked. "Why not tell us? Would you have accepted our help if you knew how powerful we really were?" Dr. Kim walked to the center of the chamber. "Would you have trusted us if you knew we could move planets, control stars, and step between dimensions?" He gestured at the huge room full of representatives. "Look how you're reacting now, when you need our help against a greater threat. Imagine how you would have reacted 200 years ago." "What about the civilizations you removed?" Du-1 asked. "The ones you sent to a place between spaces. What happened to them?" "They learned," Dr. Kim said simply. "Some took decades, some took only years, but they all learned that violence and conquest bring consequences. When they were ready to live in peace, we brought them back." "Brought them back?" Several voices shouted at once. Dr. Kim touched his pin again. A new hologram appeared, showing peaceful worlds that no one recognized. "The Krath Empire. They now live on terraformed planets in the Horsehead Nebula. They're artists now, creating beautiful things instead of weapons. The Velox Confederation. They're in a system near the Galactic core, teaching others about the dangers of unrestricted technology. Even the Drax Horde has changed. They're peaceful traders in the Outer Rim." Jia felt tears in her eyes. "You didn't destroy them. You taught them." "Earth is not interested in destruction," Dr. Kim said. "We protect. We teach. We guide. Sometimes our methods seem harsh, but they work. The civilizations we've corrected have never started another war." He looked around the chamber. "And now you know the truth. Earth's seat remained empty because we were too busy protecting the galaxy to play politics, too occupied with saving lives to attend ceremonies, too focused on preventing disasters to waste time with bureaucracy." The hologram changed back to the dark shape moving between the stars. "But this threat is different. This enemy cannot be taught, cannot be moved to another space, cannot be reformed. For the first time in 200 years, Earth needs allies." "How bad is it?" Jia asked. "Bad enough that we're willing to stop working in secret. Bad enough that we're showing you our true power. Bad enough that we're here at all." Dr. Kim's voice was grave. "You have 15 minutes left to decide. Will you stand with Earth, or will you face this threat alone?" The chamber was silent again. But this time, it wasn't just fear in the air. There was hope too. Earth had been protecting them all along. Maybe, just maybe, they could trust this powerful ally. The final minutes of their decision time ticked away. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance. Security Chief Bae Kyun-woo stood up from his seat in the upper ring of the chamber. As head of Senate Security, He had something important to say. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. "Before we vote," he said, "there's something you all need to know." He looked at Dr. Kim. Earth hasn't just been stopping visible threats. They've been protecting the Senate itself. Many, many times. The chamber grew quiet again. Dr. Kim nodded slightly, giving permission to continue. 6 months ago, Hyun-woo said, a stealth fleet entered Senate space. Our sensors didn't detect them. Our guards didn't see them. They got within firing range of this building. He paused. Then they vanished. No trace, no explanation. Until now. Dr. Kim touched his pin. A hologram showed the scene. 30 black ships approaching the Senate building. Then a simple gray Earth ship appeared. The black ships disappeared in a flash of that strange energy they had seen before. That was one incident. Hyun-woo continued. There were others. Assassins who disappeared before reaching their targets. Bombs that vanished before they could explode. Poison gas attacks that somehow turned into harmless air. He pulled out his datapad. In my 20 years as security chief, I counted 112 mysterious close calls. 112 times we almost died, but something saved us. He looked at Dr. Kim. It was Earth all along, wasn't it? Yes, Dr. Kim said. Your security is good, Chief Bake, but there are threats you can't see, enemies you don't know exist. We've been handling them. Hanul stood up. How many assassination attempts? 47. Bombing attempts? 23. And the rest? Various methods, some quite creative. All stopped. The chamber was silent as everyone thought about how many times they had nearly died without knowing it. How many times Earth had secretly saved them. We have 5 minutes left to decide, Dr. Kim said. Let me be clear about what you're voting on. If you accept Earth's conditions, you get our full protection. Our technology. Our help against the coming threat. If you refuse, he let the sentence hang. You'll still protect us, Jae-yun said suddenly. Won't you? Even if we say no, you'll still stop assassins and bombs and invasions, because that's what you do. You protect. Dr. Kim smiled, but this time it was a sad smile. Against normal threats, yes. We would continue our work, but the thing coming toward us now. The hologram of the dark shape appeared again. That's beyond anything we've faced before. We need allies. We need resources. We need a united galaxy. How bad is this threat? Do-One asked. It destroyed its own galaxy, Dr. Kim said quietly. Now it's looking for a new one. Ours. The chamber erupted in panic. Representatives shouted questions, demanded more information, argued with each other. Dr. Kim waited patiently. 2 minutes, he announced. Hyun-woo spoke again. I've spent my life protecting the Senate. I'm good at my job. But Earth, he looked around the chamber. Earth has done more than all our security forces combined. They've proven themselves 1,000 times over. I say we trust them. 1 minute. Hanul stood. I agree. Earth could have conquered us any time in the last 200 years. Instead, they protected us, saved us, taught our enemies to be better. I vote yes. Around the chamber, representatives began to stand. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. By the time Dr. Kim called time, almost every member was on their feet. The vote appears to be unanimous, Dr. Kim said. There was relief in his voice. Real relief, the first true emotion they had seen from him. When does Earth take its seat officially? Do-One asked. Right now, Dr. Kim said. Because our enemy has just crossed the outer boundary of our galaxy. We don't have a second to waste. The chamber's lights dimmed slightly as Earth's seat powered up fully for the first time. The next age of the galaxy was beginning. They just hoped they would survive to see it. As Earth's seat hummed with power, Dr. Kim stood one last time. The chamber was still full. No one wanted to leave now. There was one more truth to be told. "Before we begin our work against the coming threat," he said, "you should know who you're really dealing with." He touched his pin again, but this time something different happened. The air around him shimmered. Dr. Kim's human form faded away. In his place stood a tall, silvery being with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like stars. His skin seemed to shift colors like flowing mercury. "We are not from Earth," the being said, still using Dr. Kim's voice. "We chose Earth as our home 200,000 years ago." The chamber was absolutely silent. Even the usual mechanical sounds of the building seemed to stop. "Our original world died when its sun exploded," he continued. "We searched the galaxy for a new home. We found Earth, perfectly placed at a crossroads of space, an ideal spot to watch and protect this galaxy." Hanul found her voice first. "The humans. Are they?" "The humans are our children," Dr. Kim said. "Not by blood, but by choice. We found them when they were still learning to make tools. We saw their potential, their creativity, their determination. So we guided them, taught them, helped them grow. All humans are like you." One asked. "No. Most humans don't even know we exist. They think they developed their technology themselves. Only a small group knows the truth and works with us directly." He gestured to his pin. "The ones who wear this symbol." The hologram appeared again, but now it showed Earth's past. Ancient cities where silver beings walked among early humans, teaching them about fire and tools. Later times when they helped humans understand science and mathematics. Modern days where they work together in hidden bases under mountains and oceans. "We've been preparing humanity for this moment for 200,000 years," Dr. Kim said. "Preparing them to help protect this galaxy. The abilities we showed you, those came from us, but humanity's creativity made them better, more powerful, more effective." Jaeyun stood up. "So when Earth's seat was empty, it wasn't because Earth wasn't ready for the Senate," Dr. Kim finished. "It was because we were waiting for the Senate to be ready for Earth, ready to learn that one of your member worlds is home to both an ancient race of guardians and their human partners." Suddenly, alarms started ringing throughout the building. Emergency lights flashed red. "It's here," Dr. Kim said. His form shimmered again, returning to human appearance. "The destroyer of galaxies has arrived sooner than we expected. Now you understand why we revealed ourselves, why we're asking for your help." The main screen of the chamber lit up, showing the dark shape moving past the galaxy's outer stars. It was even bigger than they had thought, big enough to swallow solar systems whole. "Earth stands ready," Dr. Kim said. "Our ships are launching. Our weapons are armed. Our human partners are at their stations. But we need you all." He looked around the chamber. "Will you fight with us? Will you stand with the guardians of Earth and their human children?" One by one, the representatives stood. This time there was no fear in their faces. They had seen Earth's power, learned Earth's truth. Understanding had replaced fear. "The Senate stands with Earth," Hanul declared. Others echoed her words. Dr. Kim nodded. "Then let us begin. We have a galaxy to save." Earth's seat pulsed with energy. Around the Senate building, hidden ships began appearing, their silver hulls gleaming in the starlight. Inside them, humans and their ancient guardians worked together, preparing for the greatest battle their galaxy had ever seen. The empty seat was finally filled. Earth's secrets were finally revealed. And in the space between stars, a war for survival was about to begin. But this time, the galaxy would fight together. The children of Earth and their guardian parents would lead them. And perhaps, just perhaps, that would be enough to save them all.